everybody. Welcome to the Spotlight on Middle Country. My name is Lenore Paprocki, and I am the president of the Greater Middle Country Chamber of Commerce.
Hello, everybody. I am Alex Blend from the Miller Business Center at the Middle Country Public Library in Center Reach.
We're here today with our own Jungle Bob. I don't even know how else to he has no last name. He's Jungle Bob.
My last name is actually Smith.
So glad to have you.
My last name is Smith, so it's very boring. I'm happy with Jungle Bob.
So, Jungle Bob, you've been in our neighborhood for many, many, many years. Why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about how you got involved in the reptile world and how you became Jungle Bob?
Sure. Well, my passion for reptiles goes far back. When I was a youngster, 6 years old, I'm born in New York City. One of the only people you meet that's actually born in Manhattan. My dad was a New York City cop. My mom was a nice Italian lady from Brooklyn, and they decided to raise their child out in the suburbs, and off we went out to Long Island. And one of the often told stories, one of the first weeks I was out there, the kids in the neighborhood were a little leery of me because I was from the city. They didn't know anything about that back then. And a snake came cutting across the hedgerow right in front of me as I was sitting on my front lawn, and I heard screams and shrieks and yells. My dad saw the snake and ran for his revolver. My mother ran for the frying pan, and everybody was all panicked that this little snake was in front of me, and I just, not knowing anything about anything, just picked it up. And I saw everybody's face. My dad was shocked. My mother was crying. The kids were like, "Oh my God!" And to this day, I still friends with people that met that day. So it's been 6 years old. It was a long time ago. And I was fascinated by the reaction of everybody. I was fascinated by the animal, and I started to go search for them. And boy, have I searched for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's many years ago in West Babylon was where I grew up. And as I got older, I just started traveling, and it started to be local in upstate New York and around the United States, Everglades, Okefenokee, out to the Mojave Desert. And then we started going overseas to real jungles. To answer the second part of the question,
Wow.
I just got back from Nicaragua, where I now have a summer home.
Yes.
And,
Wow.
That's my 53rd trip overseas.
Wow.
Most times, I mean, I've been to Europe, and we went to Italy and things like that just to, go to the Colosseum, but I'm still looking for lizards at the Colosseum. And always about looking for reptiles. So been on tours with famous people in the business, a lot of television personalities, led tours myself to Costa Rica about 15 years ago. I used to take people to go on snake hunting trips to the Osa Peninsula in Costa Rica. A lot of fun, a lot of fun.
Yeah,
now I just go to my own enjoyment. I don't do that anymore. And that's how Jungle Bob was born.
Gotcha.
Wow.
Yeah.
Your
What an
persona,
amazing...
though, your face, I mean, your hat, your whole, how did that caricature, because everybody will see a picture of you, that caricature, and say, oh yeah, Jungle Bob. How did that come about?
Yeah, I mean, a good friend of mine, I just used to wear the hat because I like the hat, and I've had a series of them. If you'd known me over the years, it's not always the same one, but always in the same genre. It's actually an Australian bush hat. Not a cowboy.
Cool.
People say, "Oh, you like cowboy hats?" I'm like, "That's not a cowboy hat.
Right.
That's from Australian bush. That's a caballero down in Nicaragua. A guy that rides horses. They wear that kind of hat. And it was just always comfortable to me. It looked okay, and it became a trademark. We were down in Atlantic City, and somebody did a caricature of me, and with the hat on, and the drawing came out really well, and we made that the logo for the company.
That's fantastic.
Awesome.
A little sticker you see everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's been many pictures snapped. As you know, I do a lot of live animal presentations. I don't know if you know that, Alex, but I've been to the Middle Country Library dozens of times.
Yes,
Almost every school you could name, every library you could name, camp you could name, and hundreds of birthday parties. And we bring pretty much the same types of animals. A lot of them have the same name. Castro the lizard, everybody knows who he is. Castro's got his own webpage now, Lenore.
Oh, jeez.
Wow. Wow.
And he's got people who have pet dogs and cats like following him to see what he's doing. I don't know.
It's terrific.
It worked for me, but it really, it put a face on the company. It was mine. It's a caricature. It's like, it's not getting any older like I am. It's on all of our branded items now. It's on all of our corporate literature. You know, funny you brought it up, because the epitome of all that, I got the greatest Christmas present a son could ever give his father. Christmas Day.
Okay.
A Jungle Bob bobblehead.
Oh, I want one. I want one. That's awesome.
It killed me because it's Castro the Lizard.
And it's Castro in his hands.
my cheap Timex watch that I wear, and I'm like, it's not exact, but it's pretty darn good, you know.
It's very good.
And that's my pride and joy right now.
Do you sell those at the store?
We don't. That was like apparently custom made. Somebody
Yeah.
handmade the whole thing. It's a one of a kind. So
Right.
I just got it. It was a belated Christmas gift because, of course, it was lost in the mail. But
That's so funny. That's great. I
smile
love
on
it.
my face, because it's all those years. It really defined what this is all about. Now it's well beyond me. People don't think I'm real.
Yeah.
People see the caricature. We got it on the side of the van. Now we're going down the highway, and people see me drive it. They're doing double takes on the side of the van. And it'll, be there long after I'm out of this business. That logo will continue, hopefully. So
Right.
quite a ride.
That's terrific. I love it. So, so Bob, tell us a little bit about. So you had that storefront forever in Center Reach. You just recently, a few years ago, moved, and then you kind of built up. Besides that, tell us a little bit about what's been happening.
Well, the Center Reach connection has been there long before Jungle Bob's. There was a reptile store, one of the only ones on Long Island, in that little strip mall next to the car wash.
Yeah.
For over 10 years he was there, and they were there, I should say. It was 4 different owners over 10 years. And as a reptile hobbyist, that was my store. I would go there all the time and knew the owners, no matter who they were, to go pick up whatever I needed, because the big pet chains really didn't have the variety that you truly need to take care of an animal like that. And of course, don't have the expertise that someone who owns a reptile store would have. So all the owners I became friends with, and one by one, I watched them go out. They just didn't make it. I couldn't figure out why, because the store was always fairly busy.
Yeah.
And I was in the computer business for 20 odd years, and did a variety of things there, but always had my hat in the closet, would run out and do, shows for my son's classes when they were young, and whoever needed me, Girl Scout troop people, we'd meet people, and they'd say, "Can you do a show for us, Bob?" I wasn't Jungle Bob. And I went to the store one day, and this closing down again, and I said, "I sold my computer business last year. I need to do something. How about I help you run this store?" And the guy took me up on that offer. I was literally working for supplies, I had a free ticket to get anything I wanted. And after about 30 days of analyzing his business acumen, I decided the only thing to do was to buy the store, because he really didn't have much. Wasn't really a business person. I was, but I had that reptile thing that we shared. He knew the reptile part, he'd know the business part. So I took it over, and within 3 years, we moved across the street to a bigger location in Center Reach. Believe it or not, Lenore, that's 5 years ago, 4 years ago. We moved to Selden. Lease is up. I say 5 because the lease is up in 2021.
Yeah.
And that store actually won a contest in the United States for the coolest pet store in the United States. So moving to a bigger place, front page of a national magazine, Alex, in the industry. We really we scored with that one because it was bigger, cleaner, more room, parking where we didn't have in the other place. There was no place to park ever. Although we had that beautiful outdoor facility we built.
That's right.
We lost that, left it behind. The place is still an eyesore now there. No one's put any money into it, unfortunately. So I'm glad we did move. It was just painful, but we had the store, we had a house there, we had an office, we had storage, and in the back we had a garage, and all of it was filled with product. And we had no place to put it in the new store. So we needed a second location, and we ended up renting a place in Oakdale, and that's where I'm sitting today. Sunrise Highway, Oakdale, right on the where the Oakdale merge is, little shopping center with a gun store, a taxidermist, a golf out. It's like, we call it Man Cave Plaza, a fishing store. There's all these things for outdoor-minded, sports-minded people in one place that it's pretty popular, but it's not really retail. It's got a warehouse with a small retail in the front, and what happened then? We decided to go online, and we're not very successful with it until COVID reared its head, and people stopped coming to the store for a while. And we're like, uh-oh, what's going to happen here? We really ramped up the advertising and put more products online. Everybody started ordering online. Now they're picking up in the store. Governor Cuomo, thank goodness, said pet stores are essential.
Yeah.
And that's how we dodged the bullet of having to be closed. Thank God I didn't own a restaurant, because I don't know, we would have been out of business, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But instead, we not only stayed alive, it's been busy lately. Christmas was the best Christmas we've ever had.
Oh, fantastic.
Really?
With a lot of people ordering online, we're pulling customers now from the 5 boroughs who regularly come out to the store, because believe it or not, there's no really great reptile store between Manhattan and here.
Yeah.
And there are none in the 5 boroughs at all. So,
Right.
a lot of people that come to the store.
It's great.
So what kind of reptiles are people buying for Christmas? You know, especially online, or you know, from the city, or you know, what is like the most popular reptile? I'm curious.
It sounds like something out of the Grinch story to put a lizard under the Christmas tree, doesn't it? But, lizards are one of the biggest selling items. There's a particular animal called the bearded dragon. I always tell. You familiar? You familiar with that animal?
A little bit. I mean, I remember loving it as when I was a kid. Don't know much now, but I mean, I love snakes. Big snake lover. Not that I own any or you know, plan to, but
he will, Lenore. He will when this is done. You watch.
A snake before a boa constrictor.
They're just my favorite animal. I think they're so cool. So you know, I should come down to the shop and you know.
You're more than invited anytime. You're so close. You know, there's a lot of myths associated with reptiles in general, and reptile ownership is always, you know, you do what? You know, why would you want that? And you know, when I was a kid, I was really a strange kid because I had them all the time, and people never understood why I would want to do that. You want a dog and a cat, son? No, I want a snake. I want to keep a frog. So, you know, snakes and lizards are big, but frogs and toads now, you know, over the years, the moms have gravitated a little more towards the frogs. They're planted in a vivarium, not an aquarium where fish would go, a terrarium with land. A vivarium has live plants, usually running water. Now we have an item called a paludarium, that the bottom of it is aquatic and the top is plants. So you have arboreal snakes, lizards, frogs, and fish in the bottom, kind of serving both marketplaces. That's a very popular thing at the moment. And it just it's the smallest part of the pet industry. You know, dogs and cats dwarf it in every statistic from ownership to sales, but it's like 1 in every 8 households in the United States has some kind of a turtle, tortoise, frog, snake, lizard. And the really weird part now is turned into the invertebrate animals. Hermit crabs are always popular, but now it's scorpions, tarantulas, centipedes, millipedes, isopods, all kinds of invertebrate animals that are voluminous on the earth, but not really popular in the pet trade. They're just skyrocketing popularity because of they're very small. There's not a lot of care. They don't need a giant enclosure. They don't need really excessive heating and lighting. They're just kind of there, and it's the conversation piece of the day to have a scorpion that when you put a black light over it, it glows in the dark. And all it does is eat little crickets. Very easy to keep. It's almost more of a conversational piece than it is a pet, you know, but most of the ones, the ones we sell, we try to stress, are all handleable.
That's awesome.
Interesting.
Even the snakes, we're not going to sell some rattlesnake. It's illegal. It's immoral more than anything else.
I swear through this interview, you just got a new customer.
See, you were right,
my fiance is gonna hate me, but I don't know. I'm gonna be down soon. Maybe on my lunch break today. You sold me.
Another mystique that this hobby is 90% guys and it's 90% of them are riding a Harley, you know, and that's not really the truth.
Not
I
true.
think it skews at this point. Our customer base probably skews 50+% female. They're the
I
buyers.
believe that.
And
Right.
You know, I think
Yeah.
they make it sound like women are afraid of these things. You know me,
Nah.
I'll grab a boa and stick it around my neck. One of the big bullfrog, remember that? That was so much fun. You know, the only thing I don't like is I don't like your tarantulas and I don't like the scorpions and all that can no. But we had I had grown up with actually my daughter is a turtle lover. She loves turtles. And we had two little red-eared sliders that grew so big your hands couldn't get around them. They were so gigantic. It was insane.
Don't tell them they live up to 50 years too. They don't
I know.
And oh my God.
Yeah, it's quite an investment in time. Yeah. So that's a good animal too. It's a good animal to talk about because I believe in the last statistics I read, turtles was still the most popular reptile.
Gotcha.
And I love turtles. There's so many beautiful species of them, but really not the ideal pet if Alex and his fiance have a 4-year-old son. They want to come into the store. They want a turtle. They're not getting one from me.
Right.
Well,
smart.
What about a scorpion? I don't have a kid yet. What about a scorpion? I don't know.
I'm pushing your agenda. Sorry. Yeah, I wouldn't sell you a scorpion if you got a small child in the house. You just got to use your noodle a little bit, you know. But there's
no kids for me for a few years. So I mean, I'm good.
We can hook you up with a few cool things, Alex. When the kid comes, you know what happens then? The animals get given back to me, and I sell them again. So no.
That's what happens.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, the baby comes, the snake goes out the door, and we're used to that. But you know, I've had those things in my house with my children when they were babies, big snakes and all that. I went through all those phases. No incidents whatsoever. No one got sick from anything, and certainly no one got swallowed whole, which is what you always see on the TV. Somebody gets eaten by a snake. It's never happened, but they keep showing it, keep implying that it happened. So whatever.
So Jungle Bob, tell us a little bit, you had mentioned it before, but just tell us a little bit about your different shows. How do people get a hold of you to do a show or a birthday party? Once we're finally able to get back together again, you know, I've been involved in a number of shows. I've watched you firsthand and you are just so, such a, what's the word I want? Magnetic kind of personality. That's probably what I want to say.
Yeah. The kids say I'm the bomb. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah. Well, simplest way to get to us, and we're just posting something up because, you know, the teachers over the years do their budgets and they have money to spend and they want to book things. But we had a full docket last year. We had full booking and we just had to systematically cancel every single one of them. So at the moment, we're not even taking dates because we just can't do it. But ordinarily, it's just right to the website, Jungle Bob, www.junglebob.com. There's a spot there about our shows. We have a variety of different things for different ages. The flagship show is, we call it UUU, the Unloved, Unusual, Unknown, an introduction to reptiles, amphibians, and invertebrates. And we go through those animals one at a time and explain the myths about them, we like to talk the reality about it. You know, people always say, well, how come we never got a TV show, Jungle Bob? And I flirted with people so many times on that, but we tell the truth. And the truth is boring. They want to see people get stung, get bitten. They want to see people become afraid. They want to raise the bar and cut to a commercial and go back and do it all over again. And nothing ever happens. You know everything's about sensationalism. And when you talk education and conservation, no one cares. So at the local level, they do. And I thoroughly enjoy it, particularly going to nature centers. We've gone to many of the nature centers in the New York, Long Island area for sure. And that's where you really get the people who know or are interested in it. You know, in the school environment, there's always a couple of kids that don't care, always a couple of teachers that might not be totally tuned into it. But when you get at those nature centers, wow, they really enjoy that kind of info. I've been going out to Quag Wildlife every year. They have a beautiful facility there. We take a tour. There's a turtle. I know just where he is. I snatch him out of the water, big snapping turtle. He's under a bridge there. And, you know, we always like to give the kids hands-on. You know, kids are so tuned into the computer and the phone and the iPad. You can't even get their attention. You know, you're wrapping a 10-foot python around someone's neck and they're not even looking up from their little machine they're holding in the hand. put that down. Turn that off. Give me 30 minutes. And then we're going to go outside and flip over some rocks and see if we can find some insects. And they're like,
Yeah.
why would we want to do that? But once they do it, wow, their eyes open, and you can almost see, like me when I was a kid, I was always quiet, sat in the back. I was always one of the better students, but I was never one to put my hand up and answer a question. But you get those kids out in the woods and let them see nature. It's magical. It really is. And
Absolutely.
Something we're missing in our youth now.
We like to do more and more of that, but can't do it.
Good. So Jungle Bob, you have your website. That's the best way to reach you if they wanted to reach you?
Yeah, best way, just send an email to that site. There's an email address there, info@, and say you're looking to book a party, what have you. And right now we're not accepting that, but we will take a spot. Who knows what's going to happen by June, July. I hope. Right. But we've talked.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, hopefully vaccines work and nothing else comes our way. But
exactly.
We're all equally tired of the whole thing. But
for sure.
Take while we can, and hopefully that business will come back. That's really been the driving fuel of this. The brand and the logo and all that was great, but it's really we counted once a couple of years back that we did over 1,000 live animal shows already.
That's fantastic.
Sometimes it's 4 in a day, where we go to a school and go to 4 classes. We go to a camp and do 3 sessions. So we had all those things together. That's just since the Jungle Bob days, which has been the last 11 years. But I've been doing the shows for over 20 because I did it before for my kids and just as Bob. So it's been 1,000 shows just with Jungle Bob because we did so many. So, I mean, if Alex is there with his wife and his fiance rather, and years to go, hopefully with their children, you're going to come to the store. And there's no charge. Our store has got a lot of displays. Alex has 100 live animal displays there. Animals for sale, some not, like Castro. You could watch Castro walk the floor. You could feed the alligator. You could feed the big alligator snapping turtle. If someone really pushes us, we'll take snakes out and let people hold snakes, knowing you're not going to buy any. You just want to experience it. Have you ever touched a snake scale before? Most people say, oh, I don't want to do that. They're so slimy. And it's like,
no, they're not.
Excuse me, they're not slimy at all.
Not slimy.
And that's what we do.
Are snakes, if you were to purchase a snake, are they difficult to take care of?
It's probably the easiest thing there is. It's an animal with a very low metabolism, very slow metabolism. You got to put the lighting on him so the lights go on and off at night. You got to give him fresh water in a bowl every day. And you got to feed him once every 7 to 10 days. They eat one meal every week.
One meal.
And,
a mouse.
And that's what I was going to say. The meal is a mouse, right?
Usually most snakes are rodent eaters, so it's the appropriate size rodent. And we have them live, but we really stress to feed them frozen, thawed out. That's the way to do it. They come packaged just like you get chicken, frozen. And that's how people buy 12 at a time, put them in the freezer right next to the leftover lasagna. Right? They're in the freezer with mice packed in there. Some people can't deal with that. I'm like, it's in the freezer. It's the best place for anything.
That's great.
No hygiene worries. And then you take one out once a week and you thaw it out and you feed it to the snake. You actually
so you don't have to have a real, like in the movies when they have the real mouse hanging over the snake's cage trying to feed the snake.
Yeah,
nothing like that.
No, that's exactly how you do it. But now the mouse is frozen, thawed out, and you got a long tweezer or a hemostat or something, and you wiggle it in front of his face, and he senses it with his sense of smell, which is his tongue. Then it's the heat on the animal. If it's warmed up properly, he senses the body heat and he hits it. He snatches it. He grabs it with his mouth. He wraps around it usually, or some of them just walk over it. They swallow it head first and they're good for a week. And then once a week, they defecate.
Okay.
So it's really the easiest thing going. And when there's 2 feet of snow outside, you're good. You don't have to leave the house. Snakes are really happy. No animal should be in a cage. And there's certainly a large group of people that believe you shouldn't own anything or wear fur, eat meat. But snakes are, in particular, love tight environments. The ones we sell they're burrowers. They like to sit in a spot underneath something. If anything, it gets on the boring side on the cycle that they're under the ground, like nighttime, some sleep, some sleep during the day. They just want to be left alone. You know, they're not
Right.
really active. The less they move, the less food they need.
Yeah.
They don't work
Yeah.
up a lot of big sweat. They're cold-blooded, right? So they don't need a lot of calories. We're mammals. We got to keep eating all day long to keep burning that engine, you know?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Snakes don't need it. We have a big python in the store. He eats once every month or so.
Wow.
And he's I mean, they eat like a 10-pound frozen animal. I won't say what it is. And they'll gain 8 pounds. Imagine that.
No, I can't even imagine that. So, Bob, it's been great talking to you. It
Yes,
was so much
absolutely.
fun. I really enjoyed this. But you were saying just before that, the pet stores, reptile stores are deemed essential. So
Yep.
therefore, that local store right in Center Reach, in the same shopping center where Boston Market is, correct?
Correct. Bank of America, Boston Market, cross diagonal from ShopRite.
Yeah, exactly.
On the diagonal, yeah.
So people can come and see, can come and see firsthand, even if they're like kind of thinking about or they're just interested. Just come on in, and your sons and your employees be happy to kind of bring them around and give them almost a little tour of your store, correct?
Yeah, my sons, Tyler and Dylan, have been doing it since they were in diapers, are there. One of them is there every day, usually both. And we love first timers, and there's
Perfect.
no pressure whatsoever, Alex, to try to hard sell Alex a snake. You know, that's the worst thing to do, because there's care involved no matter what live animal it is. You know, it's not a puppy, which requires constant care, or a kitten, or God forbid, a pet bird, which is, you got to just be with them every day. Snakes don't care. They just got to be left alone. So it's really, but you can't, we stress the ones that are not aggressive, that are, you can hold and interface with. And that's really what it's all about. People bond with them. And there's a variety we have a variety like no one else. There's no store like ours on the East Coast, really. So come on down, 984 Middle Country Road. Middle Country Road and College Road is the intersection there. Jungle Bob's Reptile World, junglebob.com online.
Fantastic.
All right.
Jungle Bob, it was great to have you today. Really enjoyed this. We could keep going on. I know there's plenty of stories you could share that would probably knock the socks off. I think we're going to have part 2 eventually. Maybe when you open and you're back to, doing live, I'm going to come with my camera and my video guys, and we're going to take a picture of you, video of you doing something live. How about that?
That would be cool.
We could do this. We could do this right from the store. I didn't know what we were going to do today. I was going to, so I bring animals with me. Normally I got something around my neck, or I really don't have animals in Oakdale. We turn the heat down at night. We moved everything to Selden when we closed the store, just to keep it low here. If we had to keep the heat on in the room, so we didn't want to bother. So
no, that's great.
Me and I would be glad to be there.
Well, your bobblehead, that's the gimmick. Just talk to you. Thank you so much for being here. Alex, thanks again for being my host. And we'll see everybody again on the next Spotlight on Middle Country. Bye-bye, everybody.